Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a small village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. The villagers were known for their kindness and hospitality. They lived simple lives, farming the land and tending to their animals. One day, a mysterious traveler arrived in the village. He was dressed in tattered clothes and carried a large, old book. The villagers were curious about him and invited him to stay. The traveler accepted their hospitality and began to share stories from his book. The children of the village were especially fascinated by the traveler's tales. Every evening, they would gather around him, eager to hear more. The stories were filled with magical creatures, brave heroes, and far-off lands. The traveler's voice was enchanting, and the children were captivated. As days turned into weeks, the traveler became a beloved figure in the village. He helped the villagers with their chores and taught the children how to read and write. The village seemed to come alive with the magic of his stories. One evening, as the traveler was telling a particularly exciting story, a strange thing happened. The pages of his book began to glow, and the characters from the story started to come to life. The children gasped in amazement as they saw dragons, fairies, and knights appear before their eyes. The traveler explained that the book was enchanted and that the stories within it had the power to become real. He warned the villagers to be careful with the book, as the magic could be both wonderful and dangerous. Despite the traveler's warning, the villagers couldn't resist the allure of the magical book. They began to experiment with it, bringing more and more stories to life. At first, everything was wonderful. The village was filled with laughter and excitement. But soon, things started to go wrong. The magical creatures became harder to control, and some of them began to cause trouble. The villagers realized that they had unleashed a power they didn't fully understand. In their desperation, they turned to the traveler for help. He agreed to assist them, but warned that it would not be easy to undo the magic. Together, they worked tirelessly to return the creatures to the book and restore peace to the village. After many long days and nights, they finally succeeded. The magical creatures were safely back in the book, and the village returned to normal. The villagers were grateful to the traveler and promised to be more careful in the future. The traveler decided it was time to move on. He thanked the villagers for their hospitality and set off on his journey once more. The children were sad to see him go, but they knew they would never forget the magical stories he had shared. As the traveler walked away, the village felt a little less magical, but the memories of his stories remained. The children continued to tell the tales to each other, keeping the magic alive in their hearts. Years later, the village had grown and changed, but the traveler's stories were still remembered. They had become a part of the village's history, a reminder of the time when magic was real and anything was possible. And so, the village lived on, forever touched by the magic of the traveler's tales. The end.